Welcome to Launch Code, a premier business podcast, starring Evan Hafer, Matt Best, and Jared Taylor.
Welcome to Launch Code. We have a very special guest today. We are joined by the hyper creative, hyper talented Will XX.
Oh, what a title. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And also with us today is Black Baker.
Hello, everybody.
Really excited to have this discussion with you, Will, because I think you have tattooed just about everybody in the Black Rifle office at this point.
That's the goal. I want to get everybody poked.
I think who we got so far?
That.
You got Eli was the first one that you did.
Yes.
And then I believe it was me.
Yeah.
And then Evan, Matt, Heather, Frank. Frank's our facilities manager here in San Antonio. Anybody else?
Last night I tattooed Crispy again. That
Crispy
was freaking
again.
awesome.
Bert Miner.
Bert, yeah.
Who is our sourcing guy.
Bert was awesome.
Frank.
Said Frank.
Frank.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And,
well, he's big,
me.
so he needs twice.
Yeah.
Baker.
And,
we got a little baby one on Baker.
Yep. So the interesting thing about Will that you'll notice and please, by all means, check out his Instagram, Will_XX.
Yes.
It tends to be a little bit on the darker side, as many of us here are. But you, just by looking, it doesn't take somebody too long to see that you're a very 3D, almost 4D thinker with your work and the way you go about things. And one of the big things I want to poke about with you is just creativity in general, because I think creativity is one of those things that spans the board as far as, like, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what position you're in, whether you're the lowliest of lowlies, or if you're a CEO, like, or you're an artist or a creative, like, you have to be creative in some capacity, because eventually you're going to get to that point in either your career or your life where you have to envision what you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, and you have to do that every single day with strangers.
Right. It's tricky. It's, I don't have time for inspiration sometimes. Since it's my job now. It'd be sweet to be able to hang out and wait for the clouds to part and that perfect idea to hit you every single day, but I don't have that convenience anymore. So it's just like training, being creative, knowing what I want to do, and just trying my best daily.
Let's kind of. I mean, I've got 6 tattoos. They're all pretty basic. I don't have anything complicated. Let's start at the beginning, man, because what fascinates me about what you do. It is really the only job that I can think of where there is absolutely zero margin for error. Like, you can't screw up. I mean, like, from day one, from the time you fire the tattoo gun up, like, you can't, like, fuck up. So, like, how'd you get started, man? Because, like, I'm sure there's dudes out there that love tats and are like, oh man, that'd be cool to be a tattoo guy. Like, advice, how'd you get started? Like, how does it work?
Yeah. And before you get rolling, you were Army veteran.
Yes. Army, 97 to 05. I was 67 Fox. I fixed helicopters for a little bit, and I was in field artillery, and then that was it for that.
Yeah.
So tattooing, it kind of crosses with the military thing, because I was tattooing while I was in the Army.
All right.
I just got some bullshit equipment from eBay and just started tattooing my friends. Like, all the crap you hear that you're not supposed to do, that's what I was doing.
Oh, wow.
I was out of kitchens. I have pictures of tattooing my buddy John. He would just bring over a pizza. I would tattoo him for pizza. It was my hobby. Father's Day, Christmas, I wanted tattoo equipment.
But no, like, training or anything?
Nope, not at this point.
Like YouTube or some shit?
It wasn't around, really. It wasn't that common. And we're talking maybe 2002, 2003. And I just knew a way of how to get around. I've got how to get equipment, and I've been getting tattooed since I was 14. For one,
okay.
So I've been around, and I feel like I'm kind of observant, and I just kind of monkey see, monkey do at that point. I would take little mental notes, and that's what I would do at home. And then, so I tattooed out of Fort Campbell. I tattooed in Korea. I tattooed in Iraq. So I had a few years of really bad habits. But what I ended up developing was the comfort of doing something permanent on somebody. That's nerve-wracking. Because like you were saying, it's permanent. You can't fuck up. Like, you lay that shit down, there's no eraser.
Yeah, there's no whiteout.
No. So when I finally got out and I started an actual apprenticeship, the comfort was there. I just really needed to fine tune and actually learn good habits and whatnot.
Okay, so you kind of cut your teeth on a bunch of just grunts and shit, and then then you decided to get formally trained.
Well, yeah. But I mean, you're in the barracks. Everybody's drinking on a Friday night. You scream down the hallway, "Who wants a free tattoo?" You get a lot of volunteers.
I imagine
You get a lot of skin time. I do have some pictures left from that era. And that shit is rough. I feel bad.
Is there anyone out there that you remember doing a tattoo for them that you've been like, man, I need to reach out for that guy. I need to fix that shit because I know I didn't do a good job.
Need to do a step with that guy.
Yeah. Hey, man. Anybody seen like Ricky? I got to get in touch with him. What's wrong? No, I need to fix some shit on him.
Whenever somebody comes around me that I haven't seen in a long time and I see it, I won't stop staring at it. And I'm like, yeah, I really need to fix that shit. Like, you're walking around with something that represents me now, and it makes me feel bad. I think everybody should have nice work.
Or don't tell anyone it was me. Just be like, yeah, someone else did that.
They do it extra. Because then they're like, you see this guy right here? They'll show my Instagram, like, this is what he did for me. I'm like, you fucking
So you got like an original on him. Yeah, a Will XX original, man.
Out of the kitchen.
That's badass.
Paid for with pizza.
So, it takes, it's interesting, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship, and it takes balls, one, to, like you said, start putting ink on someone that's permanent. And then it also takes balls, get out of the service and start a new career and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty badass, man, that you were just like, fuck it, let's do it, man.
With a family, too.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find a job. I fixed helicopters, and when I got out, I couldn't get an interview. I was unemployed for 3 months, and I figured I had to do something. The apprenticeship came along, and I was like, fuck, starting over. I was certified in so many things, and I was fairly efficient on helicopters, and now I'm going to start from sweeping floors again.
How old were you?
26.
Okay.
I started my tattooing career at 26, official. And I wasn't really happy about it, but I figured I work harder than everybody around me. I'm going to progress quick. I have mouths to feed. This isn't something I do for kicks.
Right.
Or notoriety.
No more hobbies.
No, I need to feed my family, and fortunately, I'm able to do it with something I love to do. I take my gear with me on vacation. Tattooing is just, it's my thing. I love tattooing.
There's a theme, Logan. Hard work.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Hard work and good times have to go together too.
Right.
And,
That's not a bad idea for sure.
Survive.
Hard work and good times.
So, Will, talk us a little bit through the process as far as I know. It's not standard across the industry, but as far as the process of becoming an independent tattoo artist.
To go private, you definitely have to have a good clientele. They have to appreciate what you do. And I think the biggest part is that you can't be a cookie cutter tattooer. You can't just do stuff that dude down the street's doing, because then you're not really unique. You're just another tattooer. And if nobody else is doing what you do, that's how you get that niche. If somebody thinks that they can go down the street and get a tattoo from me or the same similar, it's really not going to work out. But if you build up your specific style, I could see, like, there's a lot of people around or everywhere. I could see it. I know who tattooed you, just because it's that well known and it's that clean and it's that niche. And that's what my goal was. Yeah, I want somebody to look at my work and go, oh, I know who the hell did that shit. Right. I don't want it to just fall into the mix. I've never really been like that with anything in my life. I like standing out.
Yeah, what's nice is every single client you do is a walking, talking billboard.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do it right,
right.
You know?
You treat them well, you do some good work on them, and people talk about you. Now you have two people talking about you instead of just one, and it's a snowball effect beyond that. And social media is definitely a key part of me having a private studio. Without that, I'm not a good salesman. I'm not a good businessman. I rarely take cards with me or talk about what I do. But the social media thing and the people walking around, they're very loud about it. And that's where it's really helped me out, because I just don't have that kind of personality where I'm just constantly putting myself out there like that. I don't walk into a room going, hey, I'm freaking, it's just that I feel awkward just doing that right now.
Yeah.
So like the days of like screaming out who wants free tattoo are over? Walk into a room, who wants free tattoo?
Sort of. I still kind of do that now with like friends and family. Like I always have shit in the back of my head, or even like regular clients too. They're so fucking cool and trusting. They really let me do whatever I want. Like if you come to me and you want a creepy skull thing, I'm not going to put a flower on you, obviously. I'm going to give you your creepy skull thing, but the conversation's over. I want it on my forearm. I want a creepy skull. Cool. We're done. I'll see you in a few months on your day of. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. And they just allow that. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about your process, because you work a little bit differently than just about every other single tattoo artist
I hide.
Well, you hide, and you also nobody gets to see anything from you before they show up to the shop.
Yeah. I try to explain that to people, and it's like asking you, on December 22nd, how are you going to feel that day? How are you going to wake up feeling? You have no fucking idea. So on the day that I start designing is the feel and the emotion and the pictures and the images that turns into the design. So I can't answer that a lot of the times. I could just tell people, look at my portfolio. That's what you're going to get. Something really similar to that. Some creepy, smeary, abstractly realistic crap. It'll be like that. You're not going to get some weird cartoony shit that day from me.
Yeah, and when you were doing my session earlier this week, you were telling me how sometimes your vision as to what you're going to be doing is super dependent on your mood.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to, like, you've got these little tips and tricks that you have for yourself that kind of you use to work yourself into a good space creatively.
Yeah. It's I kind of have a routine. Like, it's my inspiration of routine, like waking up early, getting that coffee going. I'm usually the first one up in my house, really quiet music. And, well, the day before, I do a lot of the research. I'll stay up for like 2 or 3 hours just doing research. And then I sleep on it. I wake up and I get this idea of how I want everything to be.
So you don't even think about the client's tattoo until the night before.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As soon as I finish one tattoo, I'm texting the client the next day.
Okay.
Like, what are we doing? Where's it going? Reviewing on details and whatnot. And then from that point on, I'm obsessed with that one client for the next 24 to 36 hours. That's
Right.
all I'll think about. I wouldn't even know what I'm doing the next day after that, because I'm a one-track mind. I need to concentrate on this one little ball of creativity. When I'm done with that, I'll let it go, and then I'll move on to the next one. It's a little bit, there's a lot of pressure, and there are times where I do lose sleep because it's not clicking. It's got to be like, if I can't see it in my head, I can't do it with my hands. And that sometimes is the challenge.
Now, your process as far as getting from actual ideation to skin, are you putting stuff on like a digital iPad?
Oh, yeah.
Are you doing stencils? Like, what is kind of the technology that you're using these days?
Digital for sure. Like, I'll have somebody send me a picture of where the location's going. I'll use that as my backdrop. And let's say we're doing, a goat with a skull in it or something. I'll look up 5 or 6 different goats that can possibly look good in that area, different skulls, different positionings and everything. And I'll just process of elimination, just refining everything until I get the image that I want and the specific angles. And then I'll move forward from that. But I know what I want. I just need to find it sometimes. And I like using photography the best because it gives you the best details, the best weird shadows that you can't create on your own sometimes, because when you draw stuff out of your head, I feel it's too clean. You don't have all the mistakes that from a natural light, from just looking at somebody, the way shadows fall. That's all missing. And I like that part. I like mixing in realism and putting in just like a dark imagination to it, like Guillermo del Toro type of stuff.
Yeah, when I think about you, I really think like you are a true artist to the point where even before you're sitting down, and I've seen you do it a few different times and done it on a couple different people, me included, is like you treat the person like a canvas, and then you'll look at everything and you'll grab your Sharpie or your little pen thing, and then you'll like, you kind of look at it, and then you'll do some little permanent marker scribbles here, and then you like look a little bit more. Like, it's really intriguing process to watch, because I just want to know what's going on inside your head when this is all going through it, and how you get to that final spot where you're happy with it.
I'm doing a lot of visualization in my head, and I have to kind of get myself out of the room, because if I think about what I'm doing with my hands and my face while I'm doing that, I get really embarrassed. My wife likes to call me out on that because she says I draw with my hands in the air. And I'm just trying to picture everything because it's got to fit right. It's got to fit the person, their personality, their physique. I love it when a tattoo moves with the body and it just makes the person itself look better. Like really well done tribal. Like if you really understand the composition of tribal, it makes you look freaking, their body look awesome. It contours the body amazing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that
Yeah.
either. So, tribal's kind of got a bad rap these days, I guess you could say. But
90s American, yeah, but like actual native, like historical tribal, it looks amazing.
so that was something that those societies created as a way to like accentuate muscle groups and stuff like that.
They tell stories. There's the culture and the history, but if you really look at the poly stuff, it fits muscle groups. Like you can like look at the muscle fibers, and that's basically what they're following for the tribal designs. So when you flex, it moves and bends with you, and it flows,
Yeah.
and it makes you look freaking huge. Look at The Rock, like his shoulder piece. That shit
Right.
looks dope, man.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, man. That's super impressive.
If you really know what you're doing, any tattoo. I've done a tattoo and I've rushed it a little bit. I've stepped back and my stomach didn't sink, but I was just a little bummed. Like there's something wrong. I took a picture of it. I cropped it. I liked the tattoo. I moved away from it. It should have been an inch up and to the right, just a little bit, and it would have fit just right. And that bothered me, just because the flow is off. It has to really fit the body. The composition is so key.
So are you like, is there ever a time when you're like mentally done with a tattoo? Like, so for example, so in the Navajo Indian tribes, they don't believe in completing anything. So if you look at like a Navajo Indian blanket, you're always going to find a thread that's out of place or a loose thread because they believe that if you complete something 100%, it shuts off the spirit that's attached to it.
Interesting.
So my question is like, when you do tattoos and you're done, are you completely done or do you still think about it from time to time?
No, art, like any paintings, anything, to me it's all the same. You just have to kind of know when to walk away. You will refine the crap out of it until you don't even like that image. And plus, I'm working with people's money and their time and stuff. So with tattooing, it's a little bit different. I have to reach an end point and go, okay, I'm happy with this. I did the best I could today. But in reality, man, I could work that motherfucker, just refine and detail. But you just have to know when to walk away.
Right. Just put it out of the back of your head.
In my paintings at home, I make them face the wall. When I feel like I'm pretty much done, I don't want to look at it anymore because I'll start staring at it and go, oh, what if I tweak this? And you'll never finish.
What do you paint with?
Acrylic and oil.
So you are aware that over time, oil, like when you're done, like, okay, I'm done with this. I've completed it, et cetera, et cetera. You're completely aware of the drying process.
Yeah.
So like acrylics over and oil-based paints specifically over time, they dry. And like 2 years after you get it, it will look different.
Yeah.
So you've seen those, Logan, those two Montecillo, the Cuban artist paintings I have in my house with the faces.
yeah.
No matter where you are in my house, it looks different. And if the lighting is different, the painting looks different.
Yeah.
But see, I've owned those paintings for probably a decade now, man. And like there was a time when they completely dried. So there was like a little evolution of the art, which I think is super badass. You know, I'm not an artistic person. I don't, but I know like when I see things that I like. But you know, I think that it's like just awesome as shit that like you paint with oils and all that crazy stuff and like the drying process.
Yeah.
And it just always changing just a little bit on you.
I like that. It evolves, it progresses, and the oil is in suspended animation. And I try to on purpose ruin my art a little bit because I like the aging and I like cracks and bleeding and all that fun stuff.
Thick
like
oil
that.
where it starts to crack.
I try to
and
do that on
everything.
purpose.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
so
tricky.
good. It's so good. But it's an art, man. Like there's people like this guy, this Cuban artist, Montecillo. He uses thick oils, man. And like they dry and they crack and everything changes a little bit, man. So it's like this painting that it's never done.
Right.
And it's always going to be a little different now. That's awesome.
I love that. But yeah, with tattooing, there has to be an endpoint. Even if I have to extend it for another appointment. I'll just let them know, like, this piece in my head is about 80%. I would love to throw down another couple hours on this just to smooth out that process. Like Heather stuff, I haven't posted any pictures of that because I want it to be complete. And then we finally put that white in, and I was so psyched to just like get all over that thing and just post it. And it has to match the image in my head.
What about Logan's chest?
That one, I really, looking at it again, I could probably do about another 6 hours on that guy, just because
I don't know that it will ever be fully done.
Right. It is more like an oil painting as well. Because with Logan, like we were talking about it, I want him to be living art. I want him to walk around and accentuate. And when he takes his shirt off, he's already a good looking dude, but I want the art to just like double whammy that shit. Like take it off like, fuck.
I asked him about that the other night, and I was like, man, you ever like, taking your shirt off in front of like a gal that hasn't seen you with your shirt off, and like, what's their reaction? He's like, oh man, they all dig it. They think it's awesome. But dude, like there's got to be a reaction. Like Logan's chest is this massive wolf. How else would you describe it, Logan?
I'm going to let Will take that one.
It's kind of like, he wanted to get a chest piece. And to me, if you're going to give me a canvas, it's not just like the general chest from like the pecs up. Like to me, chest is from like neck to your navel. So I was like, if we're going to do a chest piece, let's do a fucking chest piece. Like I want that kind of emotion to like the way I just said it. That's what I want the tattoo to carry. So we just put this loud, like large, aggressive looking wolf with abstract painting that like it goes against the contour a little bit, but it looks like art right on his skin. So I just want you to be able to see what it is. I don't want you to go, what the fuck is this mess? Like I want you to clearly see it, but then there's just more to it just because it's slightly abstract.
Yeah, so I came in, and the first time we met, actually, you know what, to going back, the first time I was ever in your shop was with Baker, and I think you were busy and we didn't end up, but that's funny, it was the three of us, was the first time I was in your shop, and then I came in when you were tattooing Eli, and I was like, hey man, you had done this like Indian skull headdress chest piece, and it was one of the raddest pieces of art I've ever seen. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a chest piece. I want to do something big. Because a lot of my stuff is all kind of hodgepodgey together, which, is totally my style. But I wanted to do something big. And then you said that was, what you're really passionate about is like these big projects. Like you're not a nickel and dimer guy. You want to sink your teeth into something, and you want to think about it, and you want to do it over multiple sessions and chew on it.
Well, good things take time. Yeah. Great things take even longer. So, especially when I have a client like yourself that's willing to put in the time and gives me the trust, like I feel like there is a huge responsibility on my end to really deliver. I would hate to really disappoint anybody and not put them through that much pain, put them through that much time, and at the end they're like, that would suck. That to me is a nightmare. I want the person wearing it to be extremely happy every single time they look at that thing in the mirror. And then to get the external source too, when other people see it too, you're walking art. I want you to get that attention. I want you to get that awe out of it. And a lot of times I've even told my clients, I'm like, I don't want to sound arrogant, but this piece is going to get you a lot of attention. I really hope you're ready for this. And sometimes they're like, yeah, whatever. And then they'll come back and like, dude, I got to start wearing long sleeves. And I'm like, what's that? Like, people keep messing with my arms. They keep grabbing my arms and looking at me or stopping at me. Sometimes I got shit to do, and like I don't have time to talk about fucking tattoos all the time.
Right, random strangers just come up to you and grab your arm.
Yeah, so that really makes my day when other people just start obsessing over it, and the person wearing it is psyched to have it. Right, it's just dope to me.
Can we go back to painting for a bit here? And I'm just curious, is that another financial stream for you, or is that a purely creative outlet, or what?
We'd be starving if that was the case.
Yeah. And what do you paint versus what do you tattoo? Like, what's the differentiation there?
On occasion, I'll take commissions, which is like I'll paint something somebody wants me to do, but that's really rare. I paint as a journal. I paint how I'm feeling, and I paint these images that are in my head, and I just throw it down on canvas, and they tend to leave me alone after that. But most of the time, if I'm looking at one of my older paintings, I can tell you how I felt when I was doing that. I can tell you what it means to me, and it's just like an emotional release.
That's awesome.
To actually sit down and do it for a living, I think would be nice if I had more time. I do love painting itself, but it's tedious, and there's no pressure. With a client, there's a time limit. I have you from this to this time. You expect this much work out of me. There's pressure. With a painting, it doesn't complain and it just sits there.
Yeah.
So I've looked at a painting once for 6 months. I was about 90% done, and then I just stopped because I thought I was going to ruin it because I didn't have the final image. It took me 6 months to finally click on the final details, and within 2 hours I was done. So that one, I guess it's more like waiting for the inspiration as opposed to getting down to business.
It sounds like it's an outlet and like a purge valve.
Yeah.
For your tattoo career.
It is.
Because there's no pressure, you said.
Yeah. There's no pressure, but at the same time, I want to produce more, so I need the pressure. I thrive on pressure. I need that ETA like the Army had us doing. We need this shit done by this time. And if I don't have that, sometimes I'm like, eh.
Yeah, but you're doing your designs, and it's coming. There's no external input, so to speak, from someone paying you.
Yeah.
So it's just strictly like a purge valve, a pressure valve.
Yeah.
To offshoot, your own personal creative stuff.
Right.
Where you're not like, I got to be creative and come up with something amazing for another person.
Oh, no.
I suppose this is just you.
It's like waking up at 2:00 in the morning. I'll grab my phone and I'll jot down a couple sentences because the image just hit me. And that's when I wish I didn't have to sleep, and I wish I didn't have to have other responsibilities, because at that point, I would be able to just sit down and paint for 12 hours if I had that kind of time. It's like almost electrifying. Like, and then it's hard to sleep after that shit because like, fuck, or
Excited.
or seeing other people do their thing, or just seeing another craftsman just do whatever, and I get inspired. It's electrifying, and I want to just create.
Yeah, it's a natural high for sure. All sorts of endorphins release when you're going through that.
I mean, like Logan colors.
Well, there's something about doing. Well, like specifically coloring. Or just drawing something.
So funny to say.
I know.
I color on people for a living.
No,
I
but
doodle
like
on
Logan
people.
colors in like coloring books.
So there's a couple things. It's a really good way for me to just shut my brain off.
Yeah.
To the point like having something to do before you go to bed. I think it's awful when people sit and stare at their phones for
man,
an
that's such
hour.
an awful habit.
It's horrible for your
agreed.
sleep. So it's it's like staring at the sun for an hour before you go. Like your brain's not ready to make that transition immediately. And so doing something really menial like that, like I've heard of people taking their guns apart or playing with Legos, stuff like that. I believe it shuts off your front brain and it begins that process of where you can just kind of be a little bit more at peace before you finally decide to close your eyes.
I started writing poems about, I don't know, was that maybe 3 weeks ago, Logan?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like I'm sitting there and I was just kind of went on a walk, and I came up I mess with Logan a lot. Like I like to jab on Logan, and I just kind of came up with this little like 4-line stanza. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. Let me see if I can keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some more. And so I had like 3 or 4 stanzas, and like an hour later, it's like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm at like 24.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, it was long. It was pretty damn good. I mean, Logan, it was about Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was like, so what'd you think? You're like, well, I have to admit, I've read it a dozen times, and every time I laugh out loud. So then like I did one for Matt, did one for Evan, did a couple others. So no, I mean, it's like, I think whenever you can find something that is so completely and totally out of your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
For me, like writing a poem. I'm 5'10", 235 pounds. I don't look like someone that would start messing around writing poems.
Right.
But like I'm never going to do anything with it. It's just my way of like picking words that rhyme and making funny little creative stands. I don't know. It's new to me, but it's like something I think I'm going to keep doing because it does kind of bring me pleasure and peace. It's weird.
I think another thing, getting back to the painting, why sometimes I don't, is because it's not a guaranteed satisfaction at the end. Like if you clean, you organize, you're going to get that feeling that, pint's all clean, freaking dress, like that. It's satisfying. When I paint, it might not go the way I want it to. I might not be able to mix the color that I have in my head, or the images come out wrong, or I'm off that day or some shit. So it could be frustrating at the end. And it's a gamble. Like, do I want to paint and make myself frustrated, or am I going to paint and like walk away like feeling like I did some shit? So a lot of times I'll avoid painting for that reason, and I'll go do something a little bit more simple, like organize the fish tank instead of painting.
Yeah, but don't you like? So my thing is like always try and find like the positive in every situation, even if the end result is not what you desired. But it's like, if I'm in your shoes, I'm looking at it and say, okay, how could I have done this better and avoided this outcome? So the next time I do this, I'll be better at it.
Oh man, I wish it was like that type of problem solving, but it's more like a completely open field with no path. That's art. You can go in every fucking direction. So there is no right and wrong. It's just what feels best.
Right.
And if you take the wrong trail, it just doesn't feel good. And
so you're the judge and jury, though.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And like people will look at it and go, yeah, that's fine. And I'm just sitting going, that looks like crap.
Yeah.
Or I totally screwed that up.
Worst thing I've ever seen in
I
my
can
entire
I could
life, yeah.
pick this entire thing apart. So I just have to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
And to be truly honest, there's sometimes with tattoos, I do the same thing where I have to kind of smile and go, okay, I did the best I could. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this at all. I'm going to try to convince this person to come in one more time so I can get another crack at this shit.
I think it's good to be hard on yourself, though, in those situations. Like,
It's good for progression.
Regardless of what you do, like, have a super high standard
Yeah.
for what you're doing. I mean, I feel like everybody's dad fucking
Yeah,
preach that to him, but, like, don't half-ass anything.
for sure.
And if you're not happy with something, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yeah.
You just got to know where that point is where it's like, I did the best I could today. Just walk away. Just leave it. Walk away. Tomorrow will be better. If you're not super happy with it, take notes of that. But tomorrow will be better.
Yeah,
just move on.
Yeah, for me, it's like I'd rather overtrain than undertrain any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Give me overtraining any day of the week over undertraining.
Right. Because then you're just left with like, fuck. Now what? What do I do
did too
next?
much. Oh, darn. I can sleep with I did too much. I can't sleep with I didn't do anywhere near enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes, for me personally, that transfers into everything in life. It's like,
Under promise, over deliver.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's how you come out a champ every time.
Yep. Do you agree with that, Logan?
Yeah, I think it's an incredibly huge reward to just have that frame of mind and that consciousness is saying, I put everything I had into this, and my brain is exhausted because of it. Whether that be something physical, like doing a workout to where you're like, that was awful, and then a half hour later you feel wonderful about it. The creative process is the same way. Like it's this total hero's journey where you hate everything about it, and then something clicks, and then you chug on it for a while,
Right.
and then you're like, man, I went through this process with this. It was this journey, this creative journey, and then after it's all done, you really like it. Even those swings where you didn't think it was going to happen or get done. It was like it's kind of similar to life. Like nothing good happens without having gone through something, that was a lot of work or didn't go the way you think it did in the first place.
You remember the things that were tough. You don't remember shit that's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
And like we did
Going to the gym.
Yeah, for sure. And I did an interview with Ross earlier today talking about the writing process and how to write a book. And, he was basically saying, like, he hates writing books. He's like, it's a nightmare. It's awful. But when you're done, like, there's this great feeling of accomplishment.
Right.
So as long as you're happy with the end result.
Yeah. The end result is definitely what drives. In the beginning, and I go through this almost every day where I feel the pressure. And when I first get to the shop, I feel the pressure. I want to get set up. I want to make sure my design is set. And at the same time, I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to be cordial with my client. I'm trying to be cordial with other people. But I know I'm being very stiff, very, very to the point about everything. And it's because I feel the pressure of performance. And once I reach a point, and everybody, I think, feels it when I'm with them too, where as soon as I feel good and I know I'm on a freaking cruising path, I relax and I start to get more talkative, and my energy probably is a little bit more chill. But I feel that pressure every day of if it's just not going right, I'm going to feel so terrible.
Yeah, Logan, it's probably very similar to like football. Before the game starts, you're like, I am ready to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And then once the game starts, you get in your groove. And then you start, like the thought of joking around during a game. But before the game starts, but like cracking jokes and stuff. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then once the game starts, you're like, you find yourself doing things that you're comfortable and you're kind of in the flow of stuff. Mm-hmm. And like you find yourself like kind of cracking jokes or maybe trying to talk to the guy across the line of scrimmage from you. You're like, hey man, what you doing after this game? They're like, what?
Well, there's something, I don't know what it is, whether it's the game or, there's a mental period that leads up to this action period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember, you can go to the extreme of, when I was deployed, like you fear getting shot, like you fear where it's going to come from. Like that's ultimately what keeps you alive. Mm-hmm. You start getting shot at and it's like, oh, the thing I was worried about is happening. Now I just have to react, as opposed to that beforehand, like mentally it felt way worse, whether that's like same thing with a football game or any type of physical performance. Before the butterflies are kicking, and then once you get into it and you're rolling, you're in this almost zen state where your mental capabilities and your physical capabilities are aligned, and that flow space is extremely peaceful, I think, to where you feel like, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, the muscle memory and the training have all kicked in, and you feel good about what you're doing. Like, I actually know what the fuck I'm doing. This is nice. As opposed to, fuck, I hope I trained right. I hope I got this down. I hope I got the design right. I hope I'm strong enough for this, and I'm going to be able to hang and give this person what they want. And then once you realize you do, you're like, damn, this feels pretty fucking good. Like, I fucking love my job at that point.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to get into this industry, become a tattoo artist, what's some advice you would give them? Like, how what would you tell them?
Well, to stop watching TV, for one, and to not think that this is just a party job. People don't. I've been asked before, like, what else do you do? Like, what's your other real job? Like, this is my real job. This is what I do. I have no life. So you have to be ready to give up your social life. And it's a lot of training and it's a lot of pressure. You can be like, go to the shop and stuff is picked out for you and you just perform more of a mechanic. That's fine there's a lot of awesome, clean tattooers that have that kind of life, but there's others that are artists and you want to do creative shit all the time. And so depending on what kind of career you want, do you want to be a really good, clean technician, or do you want to be in a private studio where you're driving your own boat into the unknown? So I guess for one, just get some good art skills, get a good art background, understand fundamentals, and then once you understand that, then get into the equipment part of tattooing. A lot of times it's backwards. People want to get into tattooing and then figure out how to draw along the way. And that's crazy backwards to me.
Can you back up for a second? You said stop watching TV.
Yeah, those tattoo TV shows.
Oh, like the reality TV?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it puts out what's nice is that people now understand what a good tattoo is. So there's a lot more judginess. There's a lot more, people are more educated. So that part's great. But then the expectations, I remember like old Miami Ink stuff where somebody would roll in to the front counter, like, yeah, I want to see if I can get a sleeve done by Kat today. So she'll come out and it'll be like, oh yeah, give me about 20 minutes, go have lunch, come back, and then she comes back and the design's done. That's what people really thought it worked like. So we would have people come in wanting to see sleeves. It's like, dude, this
so it just presents these unrealistic expectations.
Oh, big
as far as
time.
what the experience is going to be like.
They're done within an hour.
Yeah.
And that's what they're like, oh, it's just 1 or 2 sessions, you'll get a sleeve done. Like, no, you can put about 30 hours into a sleeve. Like 30 working hours.
Yeah. No, it's just, hey, just lay here and be in pain.
Pretty much. That's what you're asking somebody to do. And it's, yeah. there's a lot of psychology. There's a lot of like customer care stuff to go along with just being a tattooer. You can't just be throwing some headphones on and just being like a technician. You know, you have to care for your person. You have to show them a good time. You have to like have a connection with your client. And so I don't, my start was so different than most people's, but even now, people want things too easy and too fast. And
all facets of life.
Yes. Yeah. They don't want to sweep the floors. They want to start tattooing. Like, no, you start at the bottom. You start from the very bottom and earn your way up. You eat that fucking ramen for a few years before you get to the filet mignon. And that's what people really have to understand. This shit is a craft. It is not a drive-through education. It takes a big toll on your relationships. It takes a big toll on your body, on your mind. And it's difficult if you want to be really good, just like anything else.
It sounds like you got to kind of go all in, because
you really
like,
do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like if you, hey, I want to be a tattoo artist, and you fail,
you're failing on people.
No, but I don't think those skills really transfer anywhere, do they? So like, let's say some dude's like, hey, I'm going to go open up a business or whatever. Okay, yeah. You're going to learn accounting, and you'll learn some business stuff and some legal stuff, and you'll learn some things about business. But like, if you try to become a tattoo artist and you fail, that doesn't really transfer, like the technical skills of it. Like you can't really like, hey, go knock on the door. Hey, I was a failed tattoo artist. I'm gonna apply for this accounting job. Like it doesn't. Right. Yeah. So I mean, like, it sounds like you got to go all in.
Right.
Married to your job, take it home with you at night. You know.
Yeah, I'm pretty obsessed with what I do, and it doesn't well, as far as art fundamentals, art is art. No matter what you're doing, whether you're on the radio, whatever it is, art is art. So the fundamentals are there. The business side of it, that won't transfer over. Like the hand skills that you develop, that shit won't take you anywhere else either, unless you're going to pinstripe or some shit, or I don't know. That's still kind of along the same line.
What do you think you'd be doing if you weren't doing tattoos?
I think I'd be creating something. It sounds weird, but I do like interior decorating and redoing furniture and woodworking, glass making, maybe welding some art or some shit. Anything that I can create, nothing into something. That floats my boat. Just like when you see like a repurposed house, I like to watch those stupid like like tiny house hunters.
HGTV.
Yeah, I like that shit, man. Like when people have this amazing, beautiful, creative, elegant home that they just like, it was in their head. They got other people to help you out, and then they did it. That's awesome. Any craftsman shit. I couldn't be behind a desk. You asked me to do paperwork, logistics. Man, my teeth start grinding thinking about doing my paperwork. I'm not a desk person. I'm a hands person. I have to create. So I maybe it was something like that. I don't know.
So you try, as far as the business goes, and I think you said you had an accountant too. You try and like all the
delegate
paper side of that stuff. Like you try not to deal with that at all, and you just try and stay in a creative space as much as possible.
As much as I possibly could without being a total flake on real life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an adult and I have kids and I have responsibilities. I got to do all that stuff too. But if I don't have to worry about something and just concentrate on what I do best, I feel like that's where I'm utilized the best. I don't want to spend 2-3 days doing my taxes when I can spend 2 or 3 days tattooing, creating art, and then paying a guy to do my taxes for me.
I'm the exact same way. I spend an ass pile of money on accounting and legal fees and contracts and
they're great
proposals.
At it.
No, because my thing is this, man. I focus on my strengths. I don't believe in working on weaknesses. As long as my weaknesses are at like a marginal level, enough to maintain, to be a responsible human being and not a flake, like you said. Because I'm not good at those things for a reason. And if I took time away from what I'm good at to get a marginal, fractional improvement in performance in something, it's not going to change anything. I'm going to be like, well, damn, man, I'm sitting here working on spreadsheets and learning Excel when I have someone that does it for me, when I could be out doing what I love to do and what makes me happy.
Right.
So you and I are in the exact same boat when it comes to that mindset.
Like
I totally believe in that, man.
Effort to reward ratio. How much time and effort am I putting at this? Was it worth it? Spending 3 days doing my taxes, what'd you save? Like $300?
If that, yeah.
You know what
and
I mean?
you probably fucked them up. Let's be honest.
Right.
You know?
So I might as well just work my freaking ass off, pay somebody, and still be able to make more. Because my time, I feel, is just better utilized doing things that actually know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure shit
because,
out.
like, you know, a marginal improvement in a skill that I'm a subhuman in, you know, that doesn't make me feel better. It actually makes me feel worse.
And then you contribute to somebody else's way of life too, which is great.
It reminds me that I'm terrible at it, and I'm not good at it. And then, like, I'm frustrated because I didn't like doing it.
Right.
So, but I have friends that are like, oh, man, I totally disagree. Like, you know, they focus on their weaknesses, and it's like, well, I mean, you do you, I'm going to do me. Mm-hmm. But you should try and take a walk on the wild side with me sometime. It's really cool.
You get to a certain point in your life where you understand, like, I'm just really, really not good at this. I've tried for about 10 years to do this one shit. I'm just going to pay somebody else to do this crap.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just not good at it.
Yeah.
You just be honest with yourself.
And you second guess the shit out of yourself when you're trying to do stuff.
Right.
Fuck taxes, man. That's why I got an accountant.
Oh, goddamn. When I went to art school, you have to take general education, and they wanted me to take a math class, and I was like, why the fuck do I need to take this math class when my accountant is amazing at math? I came here to do art. This is what I want to do, so that's what I want to focus on. I'm not a kid. I don't need this general education stuff. I don't really believe a lot in structured education. I think it definitely needs to be catered per person. There's some people that are good with their hands. There's some people that's good with their minds. Like polish that part of it instead of thinking you're going to be good at everything. Why the fuck does trigonometry exist for normal people?
I'll answer that. Do you want to know?
Why?
I'm going to give you an answer. You're not going to like it.
All right, go for it.
So I had this conversation with my brother the other day. It was a couple months ago. And we have to this is one man's opinion. We have to have an understanding of the basics. And I think that if you start to erase the basics like algebra, everyone knows how to do algebra. They may not be good at it, but they understand that there is a more complex, different way of looking at things. It's like exposure. So I think you have to be, with your comment to general education, you have to be exposed to things to learn if you like them or don't like them, and you have to be exposed to them to see, like, can you understand it? All right.
Yeah.
So having like just a simple baseline understanding of algebra or trigonometry or geometry or calculus is important, in my opinion. Now, we don't like it, but I think, like, it goes back to you saying that people want instant gratification. They want to go in and have a sleep in 20 minutes.
Right.
But there's a certain degree of doing things in life at a young age, formative age, that we don't like or understand, but we have to force ourselves to do it, to just get through it. And that's kind of my thought on that. So I took calculus in college. I took advanced calculus in college. I'm really good at math and sciences. My spelling is abysmal because I learned to read phonetically. It's horrible. And I have an understanding of those things, and I know how they work. Well, calculus, I still haven't figured that one out yet. But that hence the tattoo you did on my arm, the Euclidean math space. It's probably the most simple tattoo you've ever done in your life.
It's one.
Yeah, I'm a top 3 for you. But that's kind of my take on that, man. And I think there's certain things that we in life that you don't like to do, but you just need to go through the process because everybody's been through that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree to an extent.
Yeah.
Of course, learn to read. Of course, learn math. But at one point, you have to go, what is algebra beyond this point really going to serve me? Why am I getting into the advanced calculations that are going to take a lot of my time to understand and learn when my field or even my interest does not have anything to do with this? Understanding how to balance your checkbook, good. Understanding how to solve an equation to launch a spacecraft, why?
Agreed.
It's not what I do. It's not what I'm into. And
when did you learn you hated algebra and trigonometry?
I'm actually really good at math, and I just didn't find a practical use for it. And, well, I was a really shitty high school student, for one. I had advanced classes until I reached high school, and I think I had Algebra 2 when I was 8th grade, and then I graduated with basic math in 12th. They were showing me how to balance my checkbook in 12th grade. Right. Because I was not very motivated to do any of that stuff. I joined the Army basically to not be homeless, honestly. Cool. And but I think it was my early 30s when I realized I don't know how to learn. kids are not taught how to learn. They're taught how to memorize and regurgitate on paper. But when you actually learn stuff and you appreciate the knowledge and you put it into practical, or not really practical, like history to me is amazing. It's just something that really interests me, and I absorb it and I can talk about it because to me it floats my boat.
Yeah.
And if you understand that about learning, I think it can do amazing in any field you go into. But to be made to learn something that you're not going to use, to me, really has no practical use.
Would you say the same for other classes? So I had to take chorus. I can't sing for shit.
Chorus?
I'm a horrible singer, but hey, man, I'll sing.
Maybe you thought you couldn't. You tried it out and you're like, wow, I'm fucking amazing at this. Or this is a joy I thought I would never have.
Right.
I think you got to try everything out for sure.
Yeah.
Don't just like snub your nose at it. It's like you
so
may
that's my
be
point
amazing.
with math.
Yeah.
And I think that math, and the reason I'm saying this is math kind of gets picked on because like, I'll never use algebra. Well, yes and no. There's parts of your life that trigonometry and algebra are a huge part
I use
of.
geometry for art.
Right. But it's like the same thing. Like people are like, like I took French from the time I was in second grade until I graduated college. I've never used French once other than when I order on a menu. And Mr. Smith, my teacher, is an asshole.
You don't bust out with some Pepe Le Pew stuff?
No.
Try
I can
to
read
seduce?
it. I can't speak it. I'm okay with languages, but no, it's interesting that I think for me, it's just a discipline thing, and I think it's one of those things like. You don't have to like it. It's just something that you need to do. And I think that it's important to do things that we don't necessarily understand or see a practical use for it later in life because you're doing it in high school and you're doing it in college and you never know what's going to change in your life or what career path you may change where it will be important.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'll end it on this, but having a basic understanding of an exposure, that's a good word. I like that word.
Yeah.
An exposure to a lot of different stuff is important.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will definitely agree with that.
I think it's you need the discovery process and then you need the refinement process. And that these structures are kind of set up in place right now as far as like our K through 12 and our secondary university type education, right? So like you have to do certain things in high school. There is some variance there, but it's pretty much set in stone. And then college, you get to pick your major. Now there's also this other thing
And change it.
Right.
But then you're also forced to take gen ed.
You are. And then there's also some prerequisite courses that may not make any sense. And you just feel like, oh, the university is trying to get cash out of me right now. Like my first career path was to be a physical therapist. And, I'm 19 years old and I'm sitting in these chemistry classes. I'm like, wait, no, I want to train to like learn how to like make people's muscles perform, and you're making me do organic chem. And I didn't see that connection there, and it totally got me out of that frame for that path that I thought I wanted, and I moved on from that major. So that process needs to be refined a little bit, I think. But for what you were saying, as far as like I went to this to be an artist and I'm taking these math classes, like there should be something worked into where you don't have to do that.
I think you just get to the point where you know what you want to do, and I highly believe in mentorships because when
I
you
agree
have
with that 100%.
somebody guiding you and molding you, they've made the mistakes. They know, like if you want to be a chef, go start hanging out at restaurants. Go start like, how did you get to this point? Like pick their brains of what to do and what's the best path for you, and try that out.
Wash dishes, bust tables.
Yeah, start from the bottom for sure. Appreciate every part of that industry itself. Don't go into a school where they teach you all these other, sideline stuff. To me, it's just a waste of time, and to spin wheels for no reason, to me, it drives me crazy. Like, let's get down to the good shit.
Yeah, like, for example, I like what the current administration is doing with their pushing to bring back, and push trade schools.
Trades. That's the way we were great at one point, I feel.
Yeah, like
World War II stuff, people working with their hands, creating.
Yeah.
That's where we got to get back
even
to.
Even like teaching people, how to become an electrician or a carpenter or an AC tech. Like, one of my closest friends lives in Seattle. He's in the electricians union up there. Dude's killing it. What a great job, But I think that somewhere along the way, society got away from certain things. It was like, oh, you've got to go to this 4-year university and get this degree and da-da.
Have-tos in life.
I know.
Have to. There really isn't a lot of have-tos in life if you really step back from the matrix of how you were raised. the house with the 2.5 kids and white picket fence, 2 cars. That's all bullshit.
And that one damn oak tree.
Like, is that really going to make you happy, or would you rather live out of a piece of luggage traveling the world? There is no set path for everybody. Like, just find what you really want to do and put your heart into that shit. Work hard at what you do and just have a good time. This shit is so short as is. To spend time with all these have-tos is...
And that's kind of, I think, the culture that Evan's created here, you know? It's like, do what you love.
Do it well.
This is like a volunteer organization. You don't have to be here. You can leave whenever you want, you know? And you can. He also says you can change a plan as fast as you can change your underwear. Right. And, like, my thing is, like, don't get married to what society or what your family or the community you grew up in pushed on you 10, 20 years ago, because it's always changing. And if I live my life the way, you know, not sound like a douchebag, but like someone upper class from the South, the way I was raised, if I went into the life that my society and community I grew up in wanted me, I'd be a fucking crazy person, man. Right. Yeah, like, I love just on the move constantly, doing what I want to do, and just finding a way to, like, make yourself happy. And don't let someone else's definition of happiness be your definition. Right. You know?
I wouldn't be tattooing if I followed that, because my parents never really understood what I do. They don't see art as a career path. It was just something I did as a kid. They never were super psyched about it, but they wanted me, I guess, to go into a trade itself, maybe a mechanic or something like my dad. But
it's a noble job, dude.
It is,
Ain't
for
nothing
sure,
wrong with it,
100%. But it's not the creative path that I wanted for myself. My heart wasn't into that. It's great to know how to do, of course, change your tires and all that other shit. But to them, I think I was in my career about 9-10 years before they even understood that I'm going to be okay. My mom would look at my hands and my neck and go, "You really need to stop getting tattooed. Like, what if you have to go to a real job interview one day?" And I was like, "Mom, I have a career. Like, Mom, I own the place. Like, Mom, I'm doing okay." And she finally came over, saw my shop, saw my house, and she's like, "I think you're going to be fine."
Did you do any of those as statements to, like, cement the fact that you would never be one of those types of workers?
What do you? Oh, the tattooing thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Once you do the hands and necks, you're stuck.
Yep.
That's like you just burned the ships that you landed on, and you're going to take this beach. There's no going back, man.
I love it.
This is your mountain to die on. Hey, this
Pretty
is
much.
it right here. We're
I'm
staying on
gonna
this one.
conquer. This is what I do. I'm a tattooer. I'm an artist. I don't give a shit. Like,
I think I really respect that, actually, because I think it's wonderful when people get to that point where they're like, "Hey, this is me. This is who I am. I've made a decision. I'm putting my stake in the ground. Here is how I'm going to move forward with the rest of my life." And it brings an extreme amount of comfort and drive into your life. And that's really wonderful to have. And like, nope, this is me.
This is the hill I'm going to die on.
Some kids are like taking it a little bit extreme, though, where they're starting an apprenticeship and just getting their face tattooed. And I've seen where people don't even finish their apprenticeship at that point. They get their hand, like, you need to, of course, go all out for it, but be smart and understand your limitations where you're really at. Do you have a clientele? Do you have your bills paid? Are you set? Are you good? Then dive in fully. Till that point, prep, work, train, just prep, and understand your position, I suppose.
It's like the guy that, or the people that are like, "Oh man, I'm gonna start a business," and they get like they start a Facebook page and an Instagram account, and they like make a T-shirt or something, but they don't do a business plan.
Right.
You know? Like they don't have an LLC.
Yeah, it looks really cool
No
to
bank
be
account.
a CEO.
They like to talk about it. They like to brag about
Yeah.
it.
It's a whole different thing to move forward and learn what all that entails, and to do that thing for years on end.
Bragging comes later, not in the beginning.
Yeah.
And people want to brag from the very beginning and prove and show what they're doing. And like, you haven't put the time in yet. You got to freaking grind for a little while and
suffer.
Build up that. Yeah, suffering is a great thing. You have to fail a lot and understand that you'll be okay. Yeah. Failing is okay. You're going to learn from it and move forward. But if you never experience that feeling, man, that first time sucks.
Yeah, no trial lasts forever, you know? And like, you know, you look at the things like in life, like middle school, you've had your first breakup, your first heartbreak. You're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And, parents are like, or friends or aunts, nephews, whatever. They're like, oh, they'll be over it. They'll look back and laugh one day. But it's like, listen, this is the most significant heartbreak they've gone through in their life. And granted, we're all adults here and we're looking at this 6th grade kid who's crying and all upset. And it's like, it's good for them. Suffering, pain, little misery, hard work, it makes us a little bit better, a little bit stronger. There's no shortcuts in life, man. Nothing's easy. And if it is easy, it ain't worth a shit.
You're not going to appreciate it. You're not going to respect it.
True.
I could tell you exactly the worst tattoos I've had where I've cut people open, where the machine was running too aggressive, or I've misspelled stuff, or I've done stuff backwards, or I've messed up the pattern. It makes your stomach sink because
I bet
you just ruined somebody's skin forever. That feeling sucks, man. And then that's in the, like, you can get shaky about it too, because then the next time you're like, oh fuck, I don't want to screw up. I don't want to screw up. I don't want to screw up. But then you start concentrating on it and you're going to screw up instead of going, all right, I'm just not going to do that again, or I'm going to pay a little more attention this time, or I'm just going to take this shit a little bit more seriously and not fuck around while I'm doing my setup or whatever. I think that's why I'm quiet in the beginning until I know I'm good, is because I've had those experiences where I'm relaxed from the very beginning. And remember those nautical stars, the red and black?
Yeah.
I've filled in 2 black spots right next to each other because I wasn't paying attention, because I was fucking off. And now I want to get past that hurdle to understand, like, okay, I'm on a good path now. Everything's laid out the way it needs to be, and I can relax.
Amen.
I never thought about that until right now.
There you go.
So you said something earlier that really resonated with me, and I think it's important to touch on, and that was the concept of mentors. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important because that's an education system that you get to pick.
Yeah.
As far as designating someone who is your senior, who has more experience in your field, or just in life.
Right.
I think you should always have a mentor. No matter how old you are.
Every part of life.
I think there should always be someone who is your elder that you look up to and can have, that you go to. And I think your parents can be that, but I think 100% you have to find someone outside of your family that has different types of upbringing or experience that you can learn from.
Researching great minds, if you want to develop yourself as a human being, it's brought me to philosophy, some Socrates, some Marcus Aurelius stuff too. And the biggest lesson I've learned is to understand you know nothing. You're a child, you have a teenage mind that's full of teenage arrogance. And to think that you have all the answers at this point in life is extremely arrogant. Look to people who have done great things and learn from them. And the pressure of life really mellows out because you don't have to figure shit out. It's been figured out already.
Yeah.
It's just follow the greats, and you're going to do great yourself.
And Logan, I will disagree with you on one point that you just made. They don't have to be older. I think that's a huge mistake. I think people think they have to find someone older than them.
Okay, I see that.
Because there's things that I look to Logan for, and I'm 10 years older than Logan, 12 years, 11 years, whatever. But there are people in this organization that I look to for guidance. Dave Reardon, the producer of this show, we started a new podcast yesterday. And we did 2 episodes yesterday. I did a solo launch code today. And afterwards, he's like, yeah, hey, man, stop stepping on people when they're talking. I was like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, yeah, dude. He's like, just because you have a thought that you think is more interesting than them, don't cut them off. Let them finish their statement. And I was like, well, I think the reason I do that is because if I don't get that idea out of my mouth, when I have it, I'm going to forget about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I was like, Dave, that's a good idea, dude. I'm going to start like kind of writing stuff down. So if you see
it's
like
called taking notes.
Yeah.
I did it myself here.
So no, they don't have to be older. They just have to have more experience.
Right.
Or a different life experience than you. Logan and I, our backgrounds are polar opposites, but we do work in the same sphere. So I look to Logan for certain things, and Logan asks me questions, from time to time about, the accounts that I run, social media accounts that I run. What are you seeing? I'm seeing this, and I see this is working, and I don't really like this because this does not make sense. And I'll ask him questions, So I don't focus on older people. Focus on people with different experiences and different life journeys. The younger generation right now, they know a ton of stuff about a lot of shit that our generation doesn't have a clue about.
Right.
So you can get information from them as well. I'm not asking some 18-year-old for relationship advice unless it's online dating.
Absolutely, especially with the onset of technology.
Oh God, yeah.
Such a different world
like,
from when we grew up, man.
Now a 4-year-old, they know how to work an iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, that is mind-boggling to me, because we're figuring this stuff out ourselves, and they're picking up. It is intuitive to them by the time they're 10. Like, that's crazy, and that's gonna propel the technology forward for generations to come, and this exponential growth of technology is going to continue. But I think we also need to be aware of only existing within technology now, which is why I think we bring up the apprenticeship, mentorship, where you're existing with the physical world as well.
Yeah. Something that I think a lot of people don't understand about mentors either is that you're pretty much meeting that person's standards. You know what I mean? It's not like you can kind of mold yourself. If you're going to teach yourself something, go for it. But if you're going to go for a real mentorship, you're asking that person to put time and effort into you, and for you to meet the standards that they've met so far. And then from that point on, carry on and do what you will. But you have to basically like submit your mind to that person's standards. And it's something that I think is not very well known about mentorships. It's frustrating as fuck because you get really pissed off. Like, no, it's good enough. And that person's like, no, you can do better. So you have to really cross that line and just let it go.
Yeah. And it's happening with me right now, specifically with Matt and Evan, to where they have a very high standard for certain things. And like, my expectation has to meet, and it has to rise, and it has to meet those expectations. And then after you meld that, after you spend time with your mentors, your expectations and then ultimately your capabilities become higher.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to elevate and enlighten ourselves and our expectations for what's possible ultimately. And we need those people who are looking at things from different perspectives in order to be able to do that.
Yep.
Right.
Good enough is a dog shit saying.
It's awful. It's off to accept. Fucking hate accepting shit. I still take art classes. I still sign up and do painting classes, and I love getting critiqued on my work, but like a really good, honest critique from people that I think are doing amazing. It always puts me in my place. I took this class we went to Colorado and took this painting class on palette knife painting, and this dude within minutes busts out with beautiful, beautiful work, and it's just like, everybody in the room at first was really confident artists. We're all established. By the end of the first day, it felt like a funeral in there. Like, everybody got kicked in the nuts by the teacher because he was that freaking above us. And everybody's like, all right, we're just going to sit here quiet and just watch.
Yeah.
You are a badass, man. And I still feel that every day. There's people way above my level that I want to learn from.
Right.
It's never ending, I think. Just like anything else that you truly love, it's never going to be ending with the progress.
Right. Do you guys have any mentors that have made an impact in your life?
Me? My mentors came later in life. So my father passed away in 1981. I was almost 5. My brother Mitch was 7 weeks old. My mom was in grad school. And I have a couple reverse mentors. So some people early in my life that I thought were heroes turned out to be fucking idiots. And I would say that to their face. So I learned what not to do from those people in business.
Which is a great lesson in itself, too.
Damn right, because you go through both evolutions. You're like, oh, these guys are heroes, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, these guys are idiots.
Yep.
My mentors, I would honestly say I hit my stride probably, I'd say 5 years ago. And one of them's Todd Ehrlich, who's the founder of Killcliff, which is a company I helped start. He's a former SEAL. And, I learned what leadership was through him, like true leadership that is super important because it motivates me to work for an ass kicker and someone who's out there like just trying to conquer the world. And And then the guy they brought in to replace him was the opposite of him. And so that's kind of another like reverse mentor. I learned how poor leadership can affect an organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very grateful for that guy. I'm not going to name his name because I can't stand him. But and then Evan Hafer kind of came into my life about 3.5 years ago, when I was in the process of hitting my stride and just spending time with Evan and learning from Evan. It kind of polished some stuff for me. You know, like he's given me a couple pieces of advice, one of which was in January, and I'll never forget it. It was one word, and he said, diplomacy. He said, you need to learn. He said, be more diplomatic in the way you interact with people when you're frustrated. And I said, my initial response was, well, fuck you, what are you talking about? And then I thought about it, and it's like he's in my head when I get pissed and I want to go high water on someone about something. And Evan's right there, diplomatic.
Yeah.
And so...
and that's how I think you know when someone's a mentor. It's
Yeah.
like their voice kind of
Right.
their voice has their space in your head.
Right. And you don't have to talk to them every day or every week for it to be an effective mentor or someone to have an influence in your life. And, you know, I would like to think that I have been able to reciprocate some of my experiences with these guys because they come from the mill background. I come from the business side of things.
Yeah.
And I've seen a company get fucked up because of bad leadership and bad decisions.
Right.
And I've tried to share those with those guys. So yeah, I've got a couple like mentors, and I've got a couple like what I call reverse mentors.
Yeah.
People that I've learned valuable lessons from, but they didn't try to teach it. It's just I learned they were idiots.
Right.
I
What
think
about you, Will?
The biggest kick in the ass is when you end up following the path that you told yourself you weren't going to, and then you end up being that person and you realize it. You're like, fuck, I have so much to learn still.
Oh yeah.
People, I constantly meet awesome people that I learned something from. And I think once I click with a little part of their personality that I highly enjoy, I want to be around them more often. Like, well, all the guys here, that's why I'm here for this whole week, is because there was something about you guys that I highly enjoyed. You know, with Matt, it's his drive and his positivity. You know, I love how Evan is so driven about what he wants, and he's really willing to go after it. It just, everybody has a little something that I truly appreciate, and I try to learn from that part of them, so I spend time with them. And so it's really hard for me to narrow. Like, if I wanted to do business stuff, it would be my buddy Craig Goodrich. You know, he definitely helped me out in the very beginning as far as like the business stuff goes and wrapping your mind around it. So every little part I have of my life, I have somebody that I've looked up to at one point. Even my kids teaching me how to just be like more relaxed, do more kid stuff, just chill, watch Rick and Morty for a little bit with them or something. It's just so important to learn from everybody in professional and in just personal relationships. Whenever I get tattooed by somebody, I will pick up something like, oh, there's just little tips and tricks that I've never seen before. And then I'll start applying that too. They wouldn't even know that I do it. I was tattooing Crispy yesterday, and I just told him when I first met him, I started looking at his videos, and I was in rougher shape back then. I wasn't taking care of my body. And then I saw this video of him pulling a fucking truck with one leg. Just like he had a strap on his shoulders and he was pulling a goddamn truck. And I'm sitting there going, what excuse do I have compared to this man? Like, he's missing a limb and he's fucking pushing himself. I am able-bodied and fairly healthy, and I'm sitting here complaining that I can't. I'm too tired or whatever. Fuck all that.
He has that effect on me too. There's times when certain things will happen will get me kind of down and frustrated, and I'll think of Crispy.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Like, you can't complain too much, man.
Also with like Evan and Logan and Matt and all these guys, like I'll find myself in physical situations when I'm out hunting, like in the field and stuff. Cold, wet, raining, windy, shit's not going the way I want it to, and tired, sore, feet hurt, frustrated, and it's like I start thinking about like all the stuff that they've been through, different courses, you know, SF, Ranger School, Sniper School, whatever it is, and it's like, all right, if these motherfuckers can do that shit, I know I could do it.
Right.
I'm not gonna let this situation get me down, and fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck those guys. Like I get mad at them, and it's like, you bastard, get out of my head.
I got a nice little one for you. Evan is 100% a mentor for me. Like, he's one of those voices that's constantly in my head as far as like level of expectation and standards and stuff like that. And, you know, we've we've had an opportunity to get to know each other quite a bit here. And there's one thing that sticks out to me, and it's super simple, and I think this is why I remembered it, why I think about it all the time, but I can't remember what school or portion of infantry training Evan was going through, but it was very early on in his career. I think I want to say school of infantry, if I remember correctly. But he told me, he's like, I would not wear socks, like during evolutions and exercises, because I wanted to destroy my feet. I wanted to make myself as hard as possible so that when it came time and it was harder, he was better prepared. So he would purposefully make things harder for himself so that he would become harder and that he would be able to take that next step later down the line. And I think that kind of simplistic take, you can see those things and how they're applied throughout the growth of, both him and this company and, the larger web of everything we got going on here is it's okay to make things a little bit harder or deadlines or a new endeavor. Make it hard. Challenge yourself.
Yeah, like they're doing. All right, everybody take your socks off. We're going to do this next evolution with no socks on.
Damn.
What are socks? I hadn't been wearing them this whole course.
That reminds me a lot of saying the mountain is the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote this a long time ago in this book called Meditations that I freaking love. Sometimes it's something so small like saying the mountain is the way. You have to understand that life is the mountain itself. You have to climb that. You have to be stronger than the mountain. And then you have to be smart enough to know that once you reach the peak, it's not going to be smooth sailing. It's not going to be a clear plain where it's going to be a simple walk. There's going to be another mountain behind that mountain and another one behind that. And this is the way of life. Just embrace it, be stronger than it, and move forward no matter what. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just push.
Get good at hiking so that when life gets steep, so to speak, it doesn't stress you. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's the routine. This is just another day I'm climbing a mountain. It's all good. It's not like, oh my God, I got to climb a mountain today. It's not. It's all perspective. So you just climb the fucking mountain, have a good time.
Climb the mountain, have a good time. Well, I think that's it. Will, you got to catch a flight. Thank you so much for coming to San Antonio. Thank you for spending some time with us. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, man. This has been awesome. I didn't even know I was going to be on a podcast.
Yeah, so tell the people where they can find you at.
Oh, yeah. So I'm at a private studio in Salt Lake City. If you guys want to reach me, it's through social media is best. Will_XX is for my Instagram. WillXX Tattoos is my Facebook. You could just Google WillXX, I suppose. But everything goes through my social media. I'm sorry, I'm a little hard to find because I'm pretty introverted. But once you actually get in with me, I will show you an awesome day.
Awesome.
There you have it.
Thanks for coming, Will.
Thank you much, Logan. Thank you much, Baker.